I have heard you, in fairness to you, say for years that you believe the two-thirds rule is not working, that you think that they ought to take the number of votes required from 21 down to 19. 60% is what you've said over the years.
Which ties in with the U.S. Senate cloture vote.
And, but you have taken issue with Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst's
from day one
use of the two-thirds rule. I went back and looked. There were resolutions at the beginning of each of the last three sessions, 13, 11, and 9, where the body approves the rules for the session.
Right.
You voted yes in each of those instances, I believe, on the rules that would govern the session, including the two-thirds rule. If you're such an ardent opponent of the two-thirds rule and you believe it's fair to criticize Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst, why did you vote yes on those resolutions?
I believe my first session, when I was a freshman, my first day, when it was suggested to me by a few senators, you don't speak on the first day, I stood up and questioned that rule and spoke about it. And actually, I believe, called for a vote on it, and I think I lost 30-1. And then I can't remember if it was 11 or 9.
Yeah.
The sessions run together, but I've talked about this issue on the floor.
But you have voted for it, and there were people who voted no in a couple of those years, but you did not.
Yeah, I'm not sure who voted no or not. I just don't know. But we have a full set of rules on the full Senate.
Right.
I disagreed with that rule. I spoke about that rule. I tried to get that rule changed. Every session we have discussed it, and now we're up to about 10 senators who would vote if we need 16. So I've been very consistent.
When you are Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst, will the two-thirds tradition, because people say it's a rule, it's really a tradition, in the Senate, no longer be in effect in your 2015 session?
It's up to the senators. It's not the Lieutenant Governor's power to change that.
Right.
It's up to the senators. One of my opponents is supporting this as well. I don't know about the other two. Jerry supports changing it to 19. I don't know about Todd.
But you'll advocate. The point is that you will advocate as Lieutenant Governor.
Absolutely, I'm running on that.
Right.
I'm running on that.
But
and so what I will say to the Republicans, which I believe will have 20 and not 19. We may have 19. But what I will say to the Republicans is, I just ran statewide.
Yeah.
This was a key issue. I believe it's the right thing to do to change to 19, and I would try to persuade them to strongly consider it and change the rule. At the end of the day, they have to vote.
If the will of the body is to maintain the two-thirds tradition, you will adhere to that, and that's it.
Yeah, because they vote on the rules. I can't change that. But in the special session, I would follow the same course that we have followed.
Which is
there would not be. And that is so inconsistent, Evan, if you think about it. We have the 21 vote.
Well, Democrats think so also.
Yeah, and so
maybe for a different reason.
But I think the Democrats have abused the rule.
Can you tell me how they've abused it?
Well, there was I forget what bill it was. It was a long 9 months and 4,000 votes or however many we cast on the session. But I remember that there was one Democrat I was talking with who I like and respect and work well with all my colleagues. And during the special, who was not happy that we didn't have the 21 vote rule. And I said, you knew this was going to happen. You had the opportunity during the regular session to work with us to pass a bill, and you refused. See, it's one thing to use the 21 vote rule to try to leverage to improve a bill, to get a bill passed that you can support.
Right.
It's another thing for 11 or 12 members to go like this.
But maybe for some of the Democrats using the two-thirds rule in that way, improving a bill means killing it.
But if you know a special is coming without it, and it could be on the call.
Well, then you own the consequences.
And that's all I said to that senator. And that's exactly what I said. You had a chance, so you can't blame us now. The 21 vote rule, and I've talked about this on the Senate floor many times again, and it was really designed for one party, I believe. It wasn't really brought into prominence until the 50s when the Democrats, which pretty much controlled, they were all the senators for the most part, they were trying to find a way to, amongst themselves, how to bring a bill to the floor. And so if you had, and you didn't have all 31 Democrats, but you had the vast majority.
Had enough.
And that's how they used it to try to decide who's going to bring. If you can get enough of your colleagues to bring a bill, to bring it forward.
So we know where you stand, and you're going to leave it to the will of the Senate.
It's will of the Senate, but I'm going to do everything I can to persuade the Republicans who return
to join you,
to join me and change it.